Hey, so today's going to be a really fun video. Basically, this is not a video that I normally do on this channel, but I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh cards today, and of course the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I have found in my house. Yeah, these are 20-year-old Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Looking through these kind of brought back some memories, and of course, because I found these Yu-Gi-Oh cards over, I'm going to make probably another 4 or 5 videos, not necessarily in a row, about basically pack openings. I thought, hey, since I found my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, why not buy some new packs of decks and then a new blaster, blister, whatever pack of cards to see if these packs can beat an old 20-year-old deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now, this was never a championship type of deck. It did win one championship when I was younger at a comic store that I participated in, but let's go through these Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I found, and then in future videos, I'll open up those decks and battle those decks against my old 20-year-old deck. Let's get down to it. Okay, so the first cards we're going to go through is the main part of the deck, and then I'll go through the rarer cards later. So, we'll start with a very cool card. We have the Dragon Dwelling Cave. Basically, this was a deck that was built around dragons. I like dragons in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've got 2 of those cards. Then there's Just Desserts. If you are a newer, younger player and you're trying to figure out what some of these do, this basically inflicts 500 points of direct damage onto your opponent's life points. Then we have Prevent Rat, and if you know anything about older Yu-Gi-Oh cards, not many of them have effects. But this one does. Mucus Yolk. This card may attack your opponent's life points directly each time this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent's life points. Increase the attack of this card by 1,000 points during your next standby phase. The attack increase lasts as long as this card remains face up on the field. Now, the great thing about this card is the fact that you can actually add on extra cards, extra magic cards, and things like that will increase its attack points. Currently, it has 0, but this can become a very deadly card if you add on, let's say, 1,400 attack through spell cards and things like that. And then you attack, and it attacks directly. Now it's got 2,400, and then you just keep on adding 1,000. It starts becoming very deadly. Next is Beta the Magnet Warrior, and then Spirit of the Harp has 2,000 defense. Ukazi, inflict 800 points of direct damage to your opponent. Another warrior type. Now, even though this is a dragon deck, I was not very rich when I was younger, so we don't have a total deck of just dragons. It's just basically whatever I could afford to put together. Battle Ox, no effects on that guy. Sword of Deep Seated, which is basically gives your whatever card that this is attached to, basically allows that monster to have 500 more attack and defense. Change of Heart, select and control one opposing monster regardless of its position on the field until the end of your turn. Aqua Mador, and then we have Darkfire Soldier, Horn of Unicorn, which basically adds 700 attack and defense to whatever monster it is attached to. And then we have Giant Soldier of Stone, Island Turtle, Offerings of the Doomed, destroys one face-up monster, and then you skip your next draw phase. Malevolent Nezzler, which adds 500 life, attack rate, increases the attack of your monsters by 700. When this card is sent from the to the graveyard, you can pay 500 life points to place it back on top of your deck. And then we have Earthbound Spirit, Mystical Elf, and then we have Amoeba, which when this card is face up on the field and control shifts to your opponent, inflict 2,000 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points. This effect can only be used once as long as this card remains face up on the field. So that's kind of a deadly card, especially if you can play that at the end of a turn, and let's say your opponent only has like less than 2,000 life points left, you automatically win, which is a nice card. Offerings of the Doomed, another one, which is just destroys a face-up monster. And then we have Warrior Die Whatever. Then we have Minor Goblin Official. You can activate this card when your opponent's life points are 3,000 or less and inflict 500 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points during each of his or her standby phases. which that becomes a very deadly card as well. Then we have Trap Hole, which if you don't know what Trap Hole is, it just basically, if the attack of the monster summoned by your opponent is, or for excluding special summons, is 1,000 points or more, then your opponent's monster is destroyed. Just Desserts inflicts 500 points of direct damage to your opponent. Muka Muka, which increases the attack and defense of this card by 300 points for every card in your hand. It's got 600 attack, so if you have like 4 cards in your hand, you're adding a massive 1,200 to that, which is 1,800 attack, so that can become useful. Malevolent Nezzler again, which increases the attack of your opponent's, or of your monster, by 700. Lord of D, which is, again, going with the whole theme of dragons, which will, all dragon type monsters cannot be targeted by magic cards, trap cards, or other effects by specially designed or other effects that specifically designate a target while this card is face up on the field. And then, if you can combine that with the Flute of Summoning Dragon, playing this card when you have a Lord D card face up on the field allows you to play 2 dragon type cards from your hand as a special summon. And you're gonna see why I have those 2 in my deck in a second. Shadow Ghoul, its effect is increases the attack of this monster by 100 points for each monster in your own graveyard, and that's got 1,600 attack as it is, so if you play that near the end of the game, it's a pretty effective card. And then Marry the Fallen One, this one has an effect of, as long as this card exists in your graveyard, increase your life points by 200 points during each of your standby phases. I got a second one of those, and then we have a Summon Skull, which is a 2,500 attack, and it just needs 1 summon monster. So, going on to the rare ones. This is actually the first card I ever opened. Tri-Horn Dragon. I bought a pack, just a single, I think it's like, 7 or 9 cards in a pack. We didn't have a lot of money back then. I bought 1 pack, my first pack, got a Tri-Horn Dragon, still have it. It's not in great condition, I used it a lot, but it is a very, very, very cool card, and I really like it. And then I've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I actually have 2 of them. And then a card that I won back when I was in college, because I still used this deck in college whenever there was somebody who was talking about it, and I won that Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and that's actually a very interesting card. If you don't know, you can only have 1 of these in your hand according to the rules, or 1 of these in your deck, I should say. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 1 face-up dragon-type monster you control once per turn. You can special summon 1 dragon-type monster from your hand or graveyard except for another one of these Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragons. So, for example, if I had this guy on the field, I could get rid of him to the graveyard, pull him in from my deck, and now, if I had another dragon, let's say a Blue Eyes in my hand, I could summon a Blue Eyes, and then I could also bring in this monster or this dragon from next turn if I didn't have another dragon in my hand, but there's a dragon in the graveyard, I could pull him in, and I can just keep on just adding in dragons. I've got, as you can see, quite a few dragons. I have, just right here alone, 4 dragons. Of course, another one of these doesn't exist, so 3 dragons right there. And then on top of it all, check this out. A Slifer the Sky Dragon. I won these as well. So that's another dragon type monster that I would have in my hand. Now some of these, the rest of these, the only one I would actually have in my hand next is Obelisk. I have that as well. And then I have Dark Magician, which would not be in my hand. Cosmo Queen, which is a great card as well. And then I've got Winged Dragon of Ra, which is another god card. And then I've got the Destiny Board and Spiritual Messages, which is final. I have all of them, which means that if you don't know, if you're maybe a little bit younger, you can bring on Destiny Board, and then if you've got the INAL in your hand, each turn you can lay down one of these, and within 5 turns, essentially, you automatically win the game. Now, when I did first get these final cards, I remember using them in my hand, and then I learned very quickly that it is pretty well impossible to actually win by using these. It is ridiculously hard. So now with some of these newer Magic cards where you can start drawing from cards from your deck, this might not be all that hard to really draw, but back in when I was playing, it was ridiculously hard. So that is my 20-year-old deck. I hope that you have enjoyed. I thought I would reminisce in my old past. I was very happy when I was able to get these God cards, whereas every single one of them. I was very happy to get all 3 of those God cards, and when I first got Trihorn Dragon, I knew it was a special card. I knew it would be worth a lot of money someday, but I'll never get rid of this. But anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed. Hit that like button, subscribe. I have future videos for Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because I wanted to reminisce a little bit. Dino Masher Fury, and then we've got another Freezing Change Structure deck, which apparently, according to people online, this one sucks, this one's good. So we'll see how an old 20-year-old deck can compete against that. And then we have Blazing Vortex that I purchased. Put a deck together with that. I'll do an unboxing video. And yeah, that is the video. I hope that you have enjoyed. I'll see you guys again next time.